Well, you know what we need? We need someone who doesn't get the narrative defined for them by the media, in the way McCain did. Rush mentioned this yesterday. Rush said, McCain was saying, we have no place in our team for anybody who so much as mentions Senator Obama's middle name. He basically played the game on Obama's terms, on the media terms, and he lost. Trump played on Trump terms. I don't happen to agree with it. I said I'm not a big fan of Trump's. I don't think he's a conservative. Don't think he's a Republican. Disagree with his views on who's to blame for the hellish hole we've dug for ourselves. But whatever you feel about him, Trump played on Trump terms. And that's what we need in our guy this time round. We need a guy who doesn't play on the media's terms, who doesn't play on the Democrats' terms, but who plays on his own terms, the way Trump did when he forced, in the space of 2 weeks, he forced Obama to reverse his position on something that Obama had been messing with, for years. So that's what we need. The lesson you need to learn from that is Trump played on Trump's terms and he won there. And that's what we need in our candidate. By the way, that arrogant laughing thing, I'd like to come back that a moment. I made a reference to the royal wedding tomorrow at the top of the show, and I got a couple of emails saying, "Oh, who cares about all these pampered monarchical parasites getting hitched in London? Americans settled that question once and for all in 1776, so we don't need to worry about that. It's unbecoming to pay attention to it." That would be a good argument if you didn't, if in effect Americans hadn't elected a neo-monarchical head of state. You can talk about all your blood-sucking parasites in the royal family and all the rest of it, but I'll tell you something. The Queen would never dream of taking Air Force One to Chicago to tape Oprah. What's Republican about that? This guy is supposed to be a citizen legislator. Have you ever been in an American city when the President of the United States has been giving a speech on the other side of town? Just because you happen to be in a building near where the President is speaking, you're in lockdown. Your life is on hold. You can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. Where's the citizen legislator in that? The citizen executive in that? That's what the President of the United States is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a guy like Calvin Coolidge, who takes the oath of office in his candlelit homestead, presided over by his father, who's a justice of the peace, and he goes to Washington and he serves his term, and he comes home and he dies, and he's buried on the same hillside with the same gravestone as his the seven generations of Coolidges in the line before him. That's a citizen executive. There's no point complaining about the cost of the royal wedding when the cost of the presidency of the United States is exponentially vaster than that. The Queen wouldn't dream of carrying on. The Queen wouldn't dream of hijacking Air Force One to fly up to New York to catch a Broadway show. And by the way, the Queen's a bargain because she's not only Britain's head of state, she's Canada's head of state, she's Australia's head of state, she's Belize's head of state, she's Jamaica's head of state, she's the Solomon Islands head of state. That's the biggest job share on the planet. If that isn't an even environmentally friendly, sustainable head of state arrangement, there's none on the planet. That's a bargain compared to this. What's the point of dumping George III to elect King Barack and Marie Antoinette to swank about? The bloatedness that attends that attends the first family of the United States now is unrepublican and unbecoming. And somebody ought to do something about that. I mean, Donald Trump probably isn't the guy to do that, but I would imagine that if you were to elect Donald Trump as president, at least when he's flying up to Chicago to tape Oprah, he'll be flying on Trump Force One rather than Air Force One. And if you're going to be swanking around like that, you should be doing it on your own dime. And that's why we had the grotesque and offensive sight just a couple of weeks ago when he was doing whatever it was, all these stupid events he does now, the first Facebook town hall meeting or whatever the hell it was. This guy takes a motorcade to go and lecture a man on how he's driving an improper vehicle. He's telling a guy climbs into a motorcade to lecture a fellow who has to drive himself to work. Where's the citizen executive in that? What's Republican about that? This stuff is way out of line. It's beyond. It's nothing. You're not comparing yourself with Buckingham Palace on this. You're comparing yourself with the most bloated and decadent royal houses in the Middle East, like those House of Saud guys when they fly into that resort where they got a big resort in Spain, and they give the exclusive contract to supply the so-called, quote, escorts, unquote, to an agency in London that supplies them only with blondes, and the blondes have to be rotated every 2 weeks, and new ones flown in for the Saudi princes because the original blondes are all exhausted by then. When you have the level of bloated expenditures that the United States, that now attends the US presidency, there's nothing Republican about that. Calvin Coolidge is a citizen executive, a guy who requires a government jet to fly him to fly into Chicago to tape a daytime talk show, is not a citizen executive. Mark Steyn in for Rush, lots more to come.